High-level thoughts on Rutgers' 35-13 loss to Illinois in Champaign. Yeah, we suck. Yeah, okay, so let's talk about it. By the way, yeah, I always forget this. You can tell I'm not a professional broadcaster. I always forget to say my name. My name is Tom, Rutgers alum, Rutgers football season ticket holder. Been going to Rutgers football games since we were playing Columbia, Bucknell, and Lehigh way back in the day. Nonetheless, as I said, high-level thoughts, forgetting all the BS, all the bullshit. This is not a rhetorical rant. This is straightforward. What the hell are we doing? Same shit every week. There's never any surprises with this team. You're tired of talking about it, of how we're in this box, how predictable we are. We do exactly what we've been doing. We beat the bad FCS teams, the worst of FBS teams, and then can't beat anybody else, whether it's our peer, whether they're average, a little bit below average, a little bit above average, and of course, we never beat an elite or ranked teams. If it wasn't for, the FCS or bottom of the barrel, we'd have no wins. We'd have maybe like one win. Last year, did we have any wins against a team with a winning Minnesota? I think Minnesota was 7-5. I think they won a bowl game, went to a bowl game. And let me say this about yesterday's game. Even though the defense is bad, and we expect that, the offense wasn't any good either. And this is the sign of a bad team. That elements of the game and different units on the team can't pick the team up and bring you to victory if one of the other teams are not performing. There isn't a part of our game that allows us to know how to win, even if certain elements, certain parts of the game are not faring well. Yesterday was both. You stumped on defense, stumped on offense. Defense is an easy target, and that will be a lot of the discussion, has been, will be going forward. What are we going to do with the defense? Rob Smith, recruiting, yada, 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 NIL transfers. Our pattern is set. It's not even about the talent. We know we have really good recruiting talent. Mike from the night report yesterday was glad to see it. He was hot. He showed a little bit of fire. He went through guys that we got in the transfer portal, O'Neal, Bradley Weaver, Judd, all these guys top programs wanted. These are highly ranked guys. Are they top of the elite? No. But these guys have been productive, and you can win with these guys, and we're not. And not only are we not winning with them, they're looking terrible. So what does that say? I'm talking about this a lot. It's not about culture. It's about scheme. Scheme, coaching, play calling. That's what it's about. Nothing else. It's not rocket science. And yes, Illinois and Indiana don't have much. Their talent level, quite frankly, on paper, is not as good as ours. When you look at the rankings, right? Indiana wins with an Ohio University quarterback last year. They're winning with a Cal transfer with Mendoza this year. And Rutgers from Ohio. We play Ohio. Of course, they almost beat us, but nonetheless, Luke Ortmeyer didn't get any reps at Ole Miss. The team is poorly coached and inexperienced coaches on the defensive side. Mike and Richie from the night report were talking about, and Alec, they were talking about this yesterday. How on the offensive side of the ball, there's a lot more experience. Guys who are savvy veterans. And it's resulted in a better offense and more productivity. Although I'll say, when it comes to putting the ball in the end zone and scoring in red zone offense, we're still lacking. Yeah, we're putting up stats in the stat sheet in the box score we haven't done in a while. And we've made progress at the quarterback and wide receiver positions for sure. But here's the thing, and this is what it is about Rutgers. Best quarterback and wide receiver room we've had in forever, and we still stink. Putting guys, and Mike and Richie and Alec talking about this, putting guys, you can't put the round peg in the square hole, right? If guys have been productive wherever they've been, and they're highly sought after, and then they come to your team and they don't produce or they're ineffective, what does that tell you? If you've had a job, maybe you've had a job in your life where the company's philosophy didn't fit your skill set, you wind up moving on and doing better at another job. That's what it's kind of like. We have enough talent to win. Regardless, the teams that are good now were always good, despite NIL and revenue sharing. And going back to when I was a kid, Ohio State was good in the 60s and 70s. Penn State, well, not this year. Alabama, you win and then your history changes. Every week I look around NCAA football, and yesterday's no exception. There's always a team that pulls off wins that we don't, literally every week. It's not an aberration. SMU beats number 10 Miami. Do we have any hopes ever, right now, in this time period, of having a chance to beat a number 10 team? No, not going to happen. By the way, SMU recruiting rankings last class 94th in the country. Where were we, in the 30s? Do we think we have a shot of beating Miami? No chance. 4-4 North Carolina State beats number 8 Georgia Tech. Do we ever get that win? Are we going to beat number 8 team in the country? No chance. 3-6 West Virginia beats number 22 Houston. Will we beat the number 22 team in the country? No. Was it Illinois 24, 25, something? They ran us out off the field. Even bad teams, and this happens every week, hangs with elite teams. 1-8 Boston College, right? 18-10 against Notre Dame in the fourth quarter. I'd take 18-10 against Washington, against Oregon, even against Illinois, quite frankly. You're hanging in there with ranked teams. You're showing that you can play. You just don't have enough firepower or execution to get over the top. And by the way, Purdue hung with ranked Michigan yesterday. That was a game they could have won. If they didn't give the ball up on downs and a really muffed punt and give the ball to Michigan deep in their own territory, Purdue could have beat Michigan yesterday. That was a close game. Purdue! almost beats ranked Michigan. Would we beat Michigan this year? No, no chance. As I said in my preview, even though Luke Altmaier, like Ethan, doesn't have the reputation as a scrambler, as a runner, their mobility is underrated. Now, Luke Altmaier in that 42-25 loss against Washington led Illinois in rushing. That's not what they want to do. It's not by design, but he has the ability to escape. If you flush him out of the pocket, you just missed that sack, and that happened yesterday. We'll get to that in a second. And he'll make the play, and he killed us yesterday. You allow him to scramble out of the pocket on a big third down. It doesn't have to be 3rd and 2. It could be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. He's going to get it. And lo and behold, he killed us on those plays. Destroyed us. By the way, Rob Smith, I'm available for defensive consulting if you need someone to help you out how to defend the edge. So Luke Altmaier had 7 rushes, 88 yards, and a touchdown. He also passed 19 of 35, 235 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And this gets back to what the next point, what I was talking about, how some parts of the game where we don't pick up other elements, and then sometimes we don't defend things we should be able to defend or exploit on offense or defense because the other team doesn't defend them well. And we talked about Illinois, like Purdue, not a great rushing team. So, of course, what does that mean? Illinois is going to gash us. And they did. They ran for 210 yards and averaged 5.5 yards per rush. By the way, Illinois was ranked 119th in the country in yards per rush and 115th in yards per game. So that means they had to get 210 yards against us. Our rush defense, they played the type. Opponents' yards per rush against us were 136th. Rushing yards per game, we were 103rd or 108th. Usually there's something that you don't do well and other things that you do well. We stink at everything. We lived up to our standard. Illinois was 7 of 12 on 3rd downs. They were 3 for 3 on 4th down conversions. But I'm not going to allow the defense to be the whipping boy because the offense is bad too. Forget the garbage time stats. We had 140 total yards with 7 minutes left in the game. And no touchdown, by the way. That would have been the first time in a few years. We needed balance. We needed to be able to throw the ball downfield, but we also needed to be able to rush it. And the rushing game was non-existent. 59 yards on 22 attempts. That's 2.2 yards per carry. When our rushing game goes south, it's not going to be a good day for us. Antoine, 10 for 29. Jay Sean, 8 for 37. Sam, love Sam, but they're putting him in, and Mike touched on this yesterday, put him in bad positions. 3rd and short, I think it was 3rd and 2, and he got 1 yard. They didn't get it. It was 4th down. And then another one, the second one I thought was even stranger. It was like 3rd and 4 or 5 or maybe even 6. And they give him the ball to Sam, and he's getting nothing. Literally got no yards. Against the team, by the way, Illinois, that's ranked 88th in rushing and 67th in rushing yards per game. We should have had some opportunities to run the ball against him. Because Ethan was just not good yesterday. He was out of it, off rhythm, out of sync with the receivers. He filled the stat sheet by the end of the game on those last 2 and garbage time. Last couple drives wound up being 25 for 45 and a touchdown, so it doesn't look awful, but he wasn't good. Missing receivers, timing was off. Ian had a big drop. He did have 6 for 85. KJ had another good game. He's starting to he's starting to take the bull by the horns, and he's getting better. Even with, I'm not sure, he's still dinged up a little or not, but he had 9 for 93 and a touchdown. A lot of people, and I talk about this preview and throughout the season, how everybody predicts us in every game to be in a shootout. But as I've said, our offense is not that productive. We'll get yards and move the ball between the 20s. We know about our red zone problems. We don't stick it in the end zone. We always melt down. But we're averaging 20 points per game in the Big Ten. And we're averaging 46 points against the FCS. So this shootout stuff, yeah, if we're in the MAC and playing Ohio, yeah, we'll get in some shootouts. In the Big Ten, we can't get the job done. We played the type in red zone scoring, settling for 2 field goals early inside the 25, and being ranked 107 before the game. And at one point during the game, I think the stat was we've only gotten touchdowns 4 times out of the past 13 red zone trips. That being said, I knew it was over for us. And then we made a play on special teams. Of course, we couldn't move the ball. But we get the punt down at the 1-yard line, and you're thinking, okay, your normal logical thought process, hey, maybe you stop and get a turnover, whatever, you can turn things around. Football is a game of field position, right? Not when it's Rutgers. The second thing that immediately came to mind to me was, we're not going to stop them here. Illinois is going to flip the momentum and go 99 yards. And especially after just missing Altmaier in the end zone for a sack and a safety, texted my buddy and I said, here it comes. And sure enough, 99-yard drive. And at that point, I knew the game was over. Because last week against Purdue, yeah, they made some stops. Also gave up some big plays. So you knew that was going to happen today. But Illinois is not Purdue. They're a more productive offense. They're a better team, better quarterback, better offense. And they weren't going to just get big plays and move the ball on a couple drives and then get stopped. They were going to have several of them. So once that drive, they got that 99-yard drive, I knew it was over. And then when we could only get a couple field goals, you can kind of see it was going to be that kind of day. All too predictable. And the thing about Illinois' third down conversions, it wasn't like it was 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. At one point, I think it was Fonseca on X was saying that average yard per distance on 3rd down was 8.5 yards, 8.3, something like that. And it was still getting unbelievable. I'm going to need more caffeine today, boy. I'm just, I'm beside myself. Had a couple more defensive penalties that extended drives that resulted. Here's the we're pretty good. We only had 3 penalties yesterday, so we're well coached into turnover, not turning the ball. I shouldn't say getting turnovers, but not turning the ball over and committing penalties, especially on offense. Defense, once again, untimely penalties. It seems like we have to be perfect, and we are far from a perfect team. And when something goes against us, the dam breaks. And, Illinois yesterday, they scored what? 5 out of 6 possessions. Seems to be a regular thing for us. Not going to go through the stats and advanced stats. It doesn't matter. As I said in the opening, we're a bad team. We're a bad program. Let me say it. We're a bad program. We stink. Even going 7-6, it looks like a mediocre program, but when 3 or 4 wins come against really bad or FCS competition, you're really below average. This is who we are. We don't get wins against average to above average competition. We certainly never beat the elite competition. I mean, that's no way to run a program. Yeah, beat somebody. I'm having little faith that we can win against the mediocre Maryland team coming up. Now, Maryland, they're tired of talking about Indiana. 50. See, now, Indiana does what they're supposed to do. They won 55-10. Maryland can't run the ball. They have to depend on Malik Washington making plays, and Maryland is number 8 in the country in pass attempts. But the percentage of completions and the amount of yards per play is not very good. So it's a volume-based passing offense that isn't super productive. And they can't run the ball. So what is that? I think they're like 120th in yards per attempt in the country. And in completion percentage. But they can't run the ball. They are absent and have been all year. So, of course, you know what's coming next week. They're probably going to be able to run the ball, and Malik Washington will go 20 for 25 for 3 touchdowns. Yesterday was the season. It was the season. It was the only kind of winnable game other than Maryland left on the schedule. No, we're not beating Ohio State. I know everybody's looking at their chops, and the night report was talking about this. They have talked about this. Hey, if we can't beat the worst Penn State team in decades, when are we going to beat them? They have more talent. We're not beating them. Yeah, they lost 38-14 against Ohio State. Had a total of 200 yards. Meyer wasn't terrible yesterday, actually. This is shaping up to be a 4-8, maybe a 5-7 season if we can somehow beat Maryland. Coaches seek it warm. And Rutgers went, Fonseca and Politi were talking about that. Not really. Maybe if we wind up going 4-8 and they give Shiano the resources next year and he can't do any better, then the seat gets warm. I think the seat should be warm. Big Shiano supporter, smart guy, good guy, will do the right thing, not going to embarrass you except on the field. Understands the dynamics of recruiting to a part of the country where the best students and athletes like to go out of state to get away from the New York, New Jersey area. We're 6 years in. Meanwhile, Utah is 7-2 with 2 ranked wins. Utah. Talked about this a million times. They have no natural recruiting advantages in Utah, Colorado. Talked about Illinois and Indiana had no idea. Minnesota's now 6-3. A mediocre Minnesota team 6-3. I'd take that. 4-4 North Carolina State beats ranked number 8 Georgia Tech. Can we see ourselves doing that? No. USC beats Nebraska, right? But here's the thing, and I talked about this in the past couple of videos about scheming and yada, yada, yada. Lincoln Riley area offense. They weren't good yesterday in a passing game. But they've also developed a way to be able to have a physical power running game, and that won the game for them against Nebraska yesterday, rushing for over 200 yards. Good teams adapt to what they can do that day and pull out wins against good competition. Is Nebraska elite? No, but they're pretty good. Adjust to win. So when it comes to our ability to be able to figure stuff out and execute it, and Mike from the night report touched on this, and coaches talking about He never worked so hard in his life. You had to know that barely beating the worst Big Ten team with some luck and in the last second, we weren't going to be able to hang with Illinois. You kind of had to figure that out. You had to know that was coming. But this is exhausting. I can't do it anymore. And a lot of fans feel the same way. Mike and Richie and Alec. It's like they have to get on and put on these shows every week, and it has to be more tiresome for them because this is what they do. As an alum and a fan, I can't do it anymore. It's not about. There has to be big changes coming with the entire coaching staff. It's not just about money. Bob Chesney, James Madison coach, he's a new hot name on a potential coaching hire to move up. Somehow the James Madisons of the world figure it out and produce great coaches. So we're going to have to, Coach likes to talk to, about how it's all on him and the coaching staff. They're going to have to go through everything. It's kind of time. And the guys on the night report touched on this. And I'm usually not a big fan of cleaning house, but sometimes you need to clean house. Get a fresh start, get a fresh set of eyes, a fresh vision. But as we've talked about a whole lot, this is a unique area of the country. People don't necessarily just support your home state university. It's either that or get out of the Big Ten. Go back to playing Bucknell and Lehigh because we absolutely stink when it comes to matching up against Big Ten competition. It's not like we have bad recruits and athletes. We have good enough talent to win. For some reason, we can't put it all together. We can't pull the pieces together and produce a product that finishes games, that gets wins, that learns how to win, even if parts of their game are not going well. We just never get that win. It's really odd. It's bizarre when you think about it. Year to year, no matter if we're 4-8, 5-7, 7-6, it's the same thing. Beat FCS, the crappiest FBS teams we beat, and then we can't beat anybody else. So, cleaning house with a fresh new approach, a new drive, forget about the advertising revenue and TV and cable and streaming revenue and all that. And that's why you have corporations with money deciding on how conferences are constructed that make no geographical sense, that make there's no natural competitors now. I mean, USC and Rutgers, what is that? So maybe it's time to come up with a new Big East. But this isn't working for us. I don't even know going forward, what's going to change? Is the philosophy and culture going to change? Probably not. How they coach the guys going to change? Probably not. We'll still be ranked in the 30s, maybe around 40 in recruiting, and we'll still be kind of middling. But really, we're below average because we don't beat anybody good. Nonetheless, that's it, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And let's see how things shake out going forward to Maryland. If we do beat Maryland, and I'll do a preview, and there's maybe the Penn State game gets a little more juice, but we'll see about that. Everybody enjoy the rest of your weekend. And we'll see you the next time.